Hello again and welcome to my video tutorial youtoocansew. I am Peplum and a lot of people call me Chimi. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make a wrap peplum blouse with lining. You know, I love wrap blouses or wrap dresses or anything that has to do with the wrap, because it doesn't matter whether you add or you lose weight, it could always fit depending on how loose or how tight you tie your blouse. So I'm going to show you how to achieve that. I'm going to be doing the cutting in this video, and I hope in my subsequent video I'll be able to do the stitching, because if I decide to do all that in this video, it's going to be a very long video and I don't want to get you bored. So if you're wondering, I'm actually wearing a floater sleeve from the last video that I made on how to make a floater sleeve. This is actually the exact sleeve that I cut out in that video, you know. So if you've not seen the video and you love the floater sleeve or you love what I'm wearing, I'm going to leave the link on the description box so you can definitely go check it out. So if you're ready, let's go into it. Okay, so I have 2 yards of fabric. You know, this is my family worship center weave fabric, and I've decided to do a wrap blouse with that. So I'm just going to go into this quickly. I'm going to be cutting the back, and 1 back and 2 fronts, because the front is going to be overlapping each other. So I'm going to just go ahead and do the markings, you know. So I'm using a bust of 38 inches, you know. So you're going to divide that by 4, and then when you divide that by 4, you're going to get 9.5 inches. So this is 9.5 inches. I'm going to be adding 2 inches for my sewing or my seam allowance. So I'm going to be adding 2 inches, which is going to give me 11.5. So definitely this, you know, fold is good enough for me. You know, I don't want to waste my fabric, so I just have to make sure that, you know, I take the measurements and get it right. Because of the edges here, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. So I'll just draw a straight line over here. Our blouse is going to be a peplum blouse, so I'm going to take the half length. The half length is actually your waistline, that's your shoulder to your waistline measurement, which mine is actually 15 inches. Some people call it half length, you know, whatever you call it. So mine is 15 inches. So I'm just going to add half an inch to it for allowance. So I'm going to be making it 15.5 inches. So I'm going to draw a straight line from that point. Okay, so from here I'm going to impute my neckline measurement, which is 3 inches. Then I'm going to also do my shoulder measurement, which is 8 inches. My shoulder is actually, you know, 15 inches, but I normally make mine 8 inches. That's when you divide by 2, it's going to give you 7.5. But because of the seam allowance, so I make it 8 inches. So from here, we're going to come down one inch to get our shoulder slope, and then we're going to connect it down to the neckline. Now from the shoulder slope, I'm going to come down about 8 inches to get my armhole measurement. So that's where our chest line is going to be. So I'm going to draw a straight line from there down to this point here. Now I'm also going to draw a straight line to connect the shoulder to the chest line. Sorry. Okay, so from here I'm going to come up by 1 inch. This is going to guide me to get my armhole. So from here, I'm just going to, because this is the back, so I'm just going to connect to this point, and I'll just give it a curve this way. So this is actually my armhole for the back, and I'm going to come down 1 inch this way for my neckline, because this is the back, so we're not going down so much. From the neckline marking here, which is 3 inches, I'm going to connect it this way. Okay, so this is very fine. Now on this half length measurement, that's the shoulder or the waistline, from the shoulder to the waistline measurement, I'm going to impute my waist measurement. My waist is actually 32 inches, and when you divide it by 4 you get 8 inches. So I'm also going to add 2 inches to that measurement, which is going to give us 10 inches. So I'm going to mark 10 inches here. Then I'm going to connect the bust to the waist with a straight line. Don't forget the bust measurement was actually 9.5, and I added 2 inches to give us about 11.5. Okay, so this is 11.5. Just have to make sure that our measurement is accurate, you know. Now to this waist, I'm going to be adding a dart, you know, to the waist. So I'm going to add 1 inch for my dart, and then I'm going to reconnect it or redraw my line. Okay, now this is perfect for the back. So I'm going to cut this out, and I'm going to use this to cut, you know, the front. So what I'm simply going to do for the front is that I'm actually going to cut 2 more of this particular, you know, piece. So I'm going to cut 2 more of this because the front is an overlap. So I need 2 in front and then just 1 at the back. So I'm going to look for a good place to cut out the remaining 2 that I need. Okay, so now that I've achieved this, I'm actually just going to take out the back, you know, take out 1 of it. This is the back, and then set it aside. Then I'm going to be working with this 2. So what I want to do right now with this one is to actually get the front armhole correct, because the front armhole goes in a little bit more than the back armhole. So I'm just going to measure. This is 8 inches. I'm going to look for the middle 4, so this way, and I'm going to go in a little, by 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to draw a straight line to connect it to the end here, and I'm just going to give it a curve, a slight curve. Okay, so whatever excess is here, I'm going to cut it out. If you're a beginner, please try as much as possible to use pins to hold down your fabric, you know, so that your fabric, or use some weight on it so that your fabric doesn't, you know, keep moving. It could be really frustrating because you might not cut out the correct thing when your fabric is moving around. Okay, so now I'm going to open up. Okay, so this is what we have. Okay, so this is like the part where we determine the kind of neckline that we're going to have here. And for a wrap dress, it's better when you have a v-neck, you know, it just makes everything easier. I'm going to be making a v-neck here. I just want to come down a little bit. You know, you determine how low you want your neckline to be, but I'll advise that when you're making a wrap dress, you shouldn't make it to be too low. So I'm going to be using, for me, I'm going to be using about 6 or 7 inches, so I'm going to use 6 inches. So I'm just going to draw a straight line there, just to, you know, just for it to be visible that this is where I want my neckline to be. So I'm going to find the middle of this particular line. It's very important to know the middle of this line here. So this is 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8. So we know that 8 here is the middle of this line. So I'm going to draw, I'm going to connect from here to the neckline here, you know, that way. Okay, so I'm going to also from there, you know, determine this is the waist, and then this is the waistline here, sorry, the neck to the waistline. So from here I'm going to measure about 3 inches, you know, upward. So this is where I want my wrap, you know, to go in, you know, from. So I'm going to connect this one like this. I'm just going to give it a curve to meet up with this one here. Like so. So I just gave it a curve to meet up with this one here, like so. So the next thing I'm going to do is to cut it out. So you always have to do your marking on your wrong side. So if the right side will be facing each other, then you have to do your marking always on your wrong side. Okay, so since we've achieved this, you just have to just cut it out. So we don't need that anymore. So this is going to be like this. Okay, so you see, this is the wrap. This is going to be inside and then outside, you know, and we already have the back. So this is the front and then this is the back. So the back is going to be all the way inside. The back is going to be there, and we're going to, of course, we're going to include our darts, and then we'll have this one, and then we'll have this one, the other one, wrapping each other. Okay, so to make this tutorial complete, I told you it was a peplum wrap blouse that we're making. So we're going to make the peplum part of this particular blouse, but before we do that, I'm going to reduce actually this particular side. You know, you're going to have to reduce it so that it is not too long. If it's too long, then it's not going to fit properly, because we have to attach a belt to it so that we can tie it. So I'm going to be reducing this by at least 4 inches. I'm going to cut it out by at least 4 inches, so that after all our seam allowance and everything, because we actually added 2 inches here and 2 inches there, we'll be able, it's going to come out looking nice. So we're going to reduce this particular side of it, but we're not going to touch that place. So at least 4 inches. You can make it 5. It all depends. So I'm going to cut it out. Now you can also make this lower, or you can leave it the way it is. It's just all, you know, depends on you. Since I'm going to be putting a belt of about 3 inches, so I think I should actually make this place to be about 3 inches as well. So I'm just going to I'm going to redraw my line to meet this place. This is nice. This is exactly what I wanted. Okay, so at the end of the day, we're going to have something looking like this, you know. So I'm just going to go ahead quickly to cut out the peplum side of it. So we're going to be cutting out a full circle for the peplum side of it. You can cut out the full circle if your fabric, I mean what is left, is big enough, but if not, you can cut your circles into 2 different circles. So the length of our blouse was actually 24 inches, and then our shoulder to waist measurement was 15 inches. So we're going to subtract 15 from 24 inches, and what we're going to have, 15 from 24, we're going to give us about 9 inches. So that means, you know, we're going to be cutting out 9 inches to make our blouse length complete. So I'm going to actually be cutting out about 10 inches because of the seam allowance, you know, because we're using the lining to turn, you know, in this particular blouse. So from here, this particular angle, what we're going to measure here will be, you know, our waist measurement divided by 4, which was 32, which when we divided by 4, it gave us 8 inches. So we're going to, you know, come down to 8 inches here, and then we're going to add, you know, the allowance that we added, you know. So I'm going to make this about 10 inches here. So I'm going to mark, you know, this here and this here. Okay, so we're just going to put our mark in there. From there, we're going to come down about 10 inches. So this is the real measurement. This is 10 inches here. Okay, so you can measure, this is 21 from the top here, and then you can go all the way 21, 21, 21 if you want to use this method. I showed you another way to do this in my video on how to make a circle skirt. If you haven't seen that video, please go check it out. I'll leave the link at the description box. Okay, so this is, and then I'm going to measure from here. This is about 11 inches, so we're just going to go down 11 and 11 all the way. Okay, so this is what we have here. Okay, so we're going to cut this out. And then we're going to cut this out. Okay, so this is for the back, you know, this is for the back. And now for the front, we're going to be cutting out almost about 2 of these because the front is overlapping, you know, that's why it's called a wrap blouse. So we've cut out 3 different ones. This is for the back and these other 2 for the front. And then lastly, we're going to cut out the sleeve. So we're going to use what we have for the sleeve. And I really don't want to go into cutting of the sleeve, but this is enough for us to cut out the sleeve. We just fold it, and then you fold it, so depending on your measurements, you know, the measurement of your round arm, you know, so when you get that measurement, if it's enough, you go ahead and cut your sleeve. Please, if you don't know how to cut your sleeve, then check out my video on how to make a basic sleeve. We're just going to be making a basic sleeve because we don't have so much fabric, or we're going to add another fabric, you know, to this sleeve. Probably we'll use a yellow fabric to make it look more beautiful. Okay, so this is what we actually got. So this is the back part, and then this is the peplum side of it. We're going to have our darts like this, you know. So I'm going to cut out the lining exactly, you know, what is here. And also this is the front part of it, you know. So this is the overlap. I mean, this is the first side, and then this is the, you know, this is, we're going to have a dart somewhere here before we attach the peplum side of it. And then we have the second part that's going to be overlapping this one, and this is the peplum side of it. Of course, we're going to be having a dart here, you know, to attach it. And then we're going to also have from this remaining fabric, I told you I'm going to be cutting 3 inches of belts because we're going to be having it here, and this is what we're going to use to tie it together, you know. So we need, you know, to be able to tie it together. So I'm going to cut after the sleeve, which I'm going to be cutting from this side. I'm going to be cutting, you know, 3 inches, you know. So overall I'm going to cut 6 inches because it's going to be on the fold, you know, and I'm going to make 2 of it like that, and I'm going to cut, you know, another one here, and we're going to attach it to this end, and we're going to attach the second one to this end. So I'm going to try my best to do a tutorial on, you know, the stitching of this particular wrap peplum blouse with lining, you know. So I'm going to do my best to do a tutorial on that, and I hope you liked this video. If you did, please do not forget to give it a thumbs up, like and share this video, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.